All right, everybody, it's the commissioner here with the Storksdesk, episode 6. Episode 6 already. Wow, holy crap. Of the League Fantasy Hockey. I'm the commissioner, Jimmy Milstead, and with me is my deputy, Kevin Stork, on this election day in the United States of America. I'm not sure what kind of a day it is for the Canada up there across the border, but
It's called Watch the Election Day here.
yeah. So happy election day, Stork. Welcome to week 6 of the Storksdesk. We're in week 5 though of the Yahoo Fantasy action, and we got 11 NHL games on tap tonight, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. We're getting down to the brass tacks in the league now. I think the first 4 weeks or so were kind of a feeler out process, where teams wonder where they need to work on and just try to stay in the mix the first 4 weeks. So now we're hitting week 5, or in the process of it, teams are gonna start separating. So everybody has to be on the ball.
Right. Yeah. Let's take a look at the results from week 4. We had some good matchups. A couple of lopsided matchups, but we'll start off with the undefeated Dave Snellgrove, Probert Etiquette. They're the only remaining unbeaten team, 4-0.
Boo, boo.
They took it to the Frozen Norseman, Nick Reedy's squad, now 1-3. 17-3 was that score. We can dive into the stats later. In the other Gretzky division matchups, Julio Varilis finally gets his first fantasy win of the campaign, even though he had a tie in week 2. He got a 12-8 win over the struggling DuPont Pipeplayers. Tim Kelly's squad now 1-3 as he struggles in the goaltending department. And then Stork, Langley Scorpions edge out DB Cooper 11-10. That was a great matchup, Storky. Langley back in the winners column, edges out DB, and I think DB Cooper just ran out of gas in personnel on the day you stepped on the gas. So a good win there by the Langley Scorpions. Over the Ovechkin, the Americans of Adna 16, the Texas Freezing Mike Kuznetsov's Jaden squad struggling right now. 16-5 was the final of that one. Jaden made it close that week, but he falls to 0-3-1. And then right now, the red-hot Washington Wendigo, losers of 2 straight to start the year, they're now 2-2. They won 10-9 over the Woody Woodpeckers. Mark Wood drops to 2-2. A great matchup there. And then last but not least, Nova Fire Brigade with a statement win. They hand Josh Halsey's Wyoming Great Apes their first loss of the year, 14-6. Josh took a pounding in that game. So what were your thoughts of week 4, Stork? Some great matchups and some shocking results. I'm not sure if they were shocking, but the Ovechkin division for sure looks a lot tighter to me than the Gretzky right now.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's everybody's feeling each other out here and figure out what they need and what they don't need. Looking at their strengths and stuff. It's important at this time to start looking at stats and see where you're hurting, which we'll talk a little bit about in a short bit here. Yeah, I mean, it's game on, man. Game on.
Yeah, I think a squad like Wyoming, who finally made their first waiver pickup of the season, he's starting to find his niche. It looks like a lot of teams are going for more goalies on their roster because a goaltender starts and some other stats like saves and shots against. Because I saw Wyoming pick up a third goaltender after he had 2 for a while. I think teams like DuPont might need to do the same, maybe shore up their goaltending department. But unless you can get 2 hot goaltenders, what are your thoughts? I mean, it's just finding the niche of the way this league's rules are. Wyoming for sure. I think they took this week's loss pretty personal, and I think they'll be all right. But it's finding that formula, I guess.
Yeah, well, like you said, if you've got two really good goaltenders in your system, you could probably make do with those two and not add a third. But having a third, especially if you like to rotate them all the time, and of course, goaltending stats is just as important as scoring. And you want to make sure you're filling holes. There's a couple of teams that will need to look into that, which again we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, if you're either going to go with two goalies or three goalies. You might even see a team with four in there, but don't forget that it takes away from your skaters because they got to come from somewhere. So,
Yeah. With that, let's transition real quick to Don Cherry's Grapevine Power Rankings after that week 4. Cherry picking league matchups. He was 3-3 last week at his picks. Nothing real shocking. He's 13-10 on the season, but in his rankings, Stork. Well, let's start from the bottom up. Unfortunately, Jaden, he stays in the 12 spot. He was at 12 spot last year. The Texas Freezing Kuznetsov yet to find a win. I still think they got room to improve. It looks like they're out of the gates pretty quick this week, but they start off the week at number 12. Tim Kelly's DuPont Pipelayers, they dropped to 11th ranked after being 9th last week. They're just really struggling right now. Like we said in the goaltending department, Elvis Merzlikins and UC Saros are just not getting it done for them. Number 10, Nick Reedy's Frozen Norseman. I think they're a lot better team than they're showing. They've had a real brutal schedule. I know they have played you, I think, right? They fall from number 8 to 10. Julio jumps up from the 11th spot up to rank number 9 with his first ever win. Good job, Julio and Huma. The Washington Wendigo moving straight up. I think this team's on the rise big time. Waylon Womack's Washington Wendigo moved from number 10 to number 8. The Woody Woodpecker, temporarily, they were at rank number 3. They dropped all the way down to 7. I still think they are going to be up there in a playoff spot, but temporarily, Cherry dropped them down to 7. And then he's got you at 6, Stork. Langley Scorpions moving up 1 spot. I know you probably stewing over that. Maybe deserved maybe a couple more spots up. He's got Adden at number 5, moving 1 spot up as well after being there number 6. DB Cooper with a loss stays at number 4, though. I think he's still got a solid team. Don Cherry thinks he's probably right where he needs to be there. Wyoming took a step back from number 2 to number 3. Josh should be all right, though. And then Nova Fire Brigade, they were high-ranked beginning of the year. They fell a little bit, but they're back right up there with an impressive win over Wyoming. They're the number 2 team. And then that number 1 stand is Dave Snellgrove's Probert Etiquette. No doubt.
Boo!
What are your thoughts on what do you think of Cherry's rankings? Is he out of his mind?
They're pretty accurate right now. Don Cherry knows what he's talking about. And we're going to see that flip-flopping all season, the rankings. But it'll start to smooth out as the season wears on and teams start to separate.
Speaking of Don, does this guy ever run for office up there in Canada? What would you think of this guy as a political?
A lot of people would like to see him run but I like Don Cherry, but I don't want him in the government. That's for sure.
Oh man, that would be
chaos.
Pig. What would this guy be as a prime minister? What is it? The prime minister up there?
Pretty close to Donald Trump, man.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there's the rankings. Pretty cool. Pretty exciting. Can't wait to see where it goes from there. So with that, Stork, real quick, let's dive into this week's matchups. Week 5 already. Time is moving along. Let me back out of this. We're in week 6, yeah. We're in week 5.
Week 5.
Yeah, I'm jumping the gun. Scores are already going on. I won't read those off right now after one day of Monday's action. Big slate of 11 games tonight. But we got the Adden Americans taking on the Woody Woodpeckers. We have got the Texas Freezing Kuznetsovs looking for their first win, taking on the Nova Fire Brigade. That'll be that is actually Don Cherry's matchup of the week, if you can believe this. He thinks Jay can get the upset. So we'll take a look at that matchup in a minute.
He's off to a good start.
Yeah, he is. Josh and the Wyoming Great Apes are going to take on the Washington Wendigo. I'm really liking this matchup. Surprised that wasn't matchup of the week. Nick Reedy's squad of the Frozen Norsemen, they are taking on you, Stork, the Langley Scorpions. That should be pretty good. Tim Kelly's DuPont players are taking on the 4-0 Probert Etiquette. DuPont's going to need to bring it this week. And then Mark Raymond's DB Cooper will be traveling and taking on Huma, Julio's squad. I think that'll be an outstanding matchup as well. So those are the matchups going on right now. Big match, big slate of games tonight.
Yeah, and after this week, we have one more week of divisional matchups, and then we start playing some non-division teams, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, we've only had one of the 1 week of that so far. It was week 2, in which I remember you beating me again.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah. But so yeah, what do you think the matchup of the week is? Don Cherry has he gave some love to Jaden. I think he's going to come out of that losing streak.
Yeah, I mean, I like that Washington-Wyoming game too. I'm watching it closely. Washington's starting to, I mean, they're 2-2 now. They got up to a rough start, but their goaltending has been solid, and they're off to a good start this week. So, and with Wyoming, they took on their first loss last week, and we'll see how they bounce back against Washington. It should be a good matchup.
Yeah, I was talking to Wendigo manager Waylon Womack earlier. He's getting defenseman Aaron Ekblad off of IR this Saturday, I believe. So he's starting to get a little bit healthier. Still got a long way to go for Landeskog to come off IR. And I noticed Brock Besser's on IR.
He's off now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he was just taken off this morning, I believe.
That tracker I was looking at, it still has him listed there, but that's like not the actual page. But so Waylon's getting a little healthier. He's also got Cam Talbot playing some hockey in between the pipes. I haven't had a chance to see how he's been doing. I know Ottawa's struggling. They're in the last place of the competitive Atlantic. So we'll see.
Just to cut you off for a second, Besser is in the lineup today, so he's back.
Oh, okay. I'll see what Waylon thinks, as he might want to adjust his roster. Unless I'm totally looking at the wrong page. Stat tracker I was looking at might not be updated, but so yeah, Stork, you want to jump into some statistics? Your specialty, Mr. Stat.
Yeah, well, we talk so much about all of our categories and everything like that and how important they are. So I thought I'd do a brief rundown of some of the categories we have. In the goals department, DB Cooper leads that with 70. Probert Etiquette is second there with 64 goals. And down towards the bottom at 11th place, we have Texas at 35 goals. And the Washington Wendigo with 34. But if they can get healthy and they can get back and up there, because that's a really low stat for them. In the assist department, the Nova Fire Brigade has 113 assists already, followed by my team, Langley, with 107. And down at the bottom again, Washington's there again with 69 assists, and Wyoming with 67. As far as points round out because of those two, Langley is sitting with the most points in the league, 163. The Fire Brigade at 161. And then down at the bottom, we have Wyoming and Texas with 120 points and Washington with 103. So, yeah, the quicker he gets healthy, the better. The plus minus side, believe it or not, the Nova Fire Brigade leads that with a plus 23. But, and despite of the low total of goals and assists, the Washington team is second with a plus 22. Get that. And even more funnier is Pro Bear Etiquette is at a minus 29, but they're not the worst. The Norsemen have that one at a minus 35. The Norsemen lead the league in penalties, so he's the bad guy so far with 101 penalty minutes. And I'm the wimp, Langley, at 61 penalty minutes. As far as power play points, Pro Bear Etiquette leads that with 61 points. DB Cooper has 58. And then at 11th, Texas at 37. And again, Washington again with only 34 power play points. As far as shots are concerned, DuPont leads that with 505. DB Cooper is second at 495. And then at the bottom at 11th place is Texas at 425. And those Wendigo at 383. So we see Washington everywhere, and you got to wonder, how did they get a plus 22 and be second in the league in that? But there they are. As far as hits are concerned, DuPont, 267 hits.
Wow.
And second is Pro Bear Etiquette with a 218. At the bottom of that list is the 11th place Adna with 163 hits, and the Fire Brigade with 145. Block shots, both DB Cooper and Yuma both tied at 146. Washington is in 11th at 110, and Wyoming with only 86 block shots. So he's got to get some defensemen that stand in front of that net. As far as goaltending is concerned, now in the wins department, Adna, you, Jimmy, you're still sitting with 13 wins, which is really good for goaltending. It's really helped you. It's probably carried you to that 2-2 record. Down at the bottom, DuPont and Texas both have 4 wins in the goalie department. And they really, I mean, Texas has got to get some goaltending in there, and so is DuPont, because it's going to start hurting them down the road. Goals against average, Adna, again, still this week, 1.35 goals against average. Second best is Pro Bear Etiquette at 219. And then on 11th place is the Norseman with a 3.75 goals against average. And a league worse is DuPont with a 4.09 goals against average. So he's struggling in the goaltending department.
Yep. So interesting, some interesting stats there, Stork. Yeah, like you said, goaltending's been key for Adna, even though they did have a good goal-scoring week this week. But Connor Hellebuck, I mean, he's been saving my bacon, and even Billy Husso for the Detroit Red Wings. They've been really impressive. They've been a hot team lately. I don't think they're getting a lot of notoriety. They beat the Rangers Sunday in overtime. But, yeah. And then with the injury of Jake Ottinger, Anna had to pick up Eric Chaldron to keep pace with Texas last week. So, I mean, you're running into trouble if you're just running with 2 goaltenders. And some of the categories, you need them, possibly a third just to fill out games started. But, I mean, like you said, it's finding your own formula and niche to what you're trying to accomplish, I guess. But
yeah, well, we're both on opposite ends here. Your goaltending has won you those 2 games to make you 2-2, and
yeah,
my offense has won me the 2 games for me to be 2-2. You're struggling on offense. I'm struggling at net. If I can just put it together and get some goaltending and move those stats up, that's really going to help my team. But like I said, Washington, they need to get some goalie or get some scoring in there because their goaltending is not bad. It's middle of the pack, but if they can just get some goals, they could be a real dangerous team.
Yeah, because I was struggling for the 3 stars of the week selections. I was going through each team, and he's doing it by a committee. It seems like Washington Wendigo.
Yeah, that works.
Nobody seemed to like stand out for me. It was weird. I guess there was a 4-assist week that he had from Lundell, the center for Florida. He had a pretty good road trip, but nobody was really standing out as far as like goals, assists for him. He's just getting it done in categories by committee. Definitely the face-off king of the league, Bergeron, and I can't remember who else. Oh, Nico Hischier. He's just set down the middle, but he's been pretty good. As soon as he gets a little bit more healthier, it could be even more dangerous. So
yeah.
So
well, as like I said, the stats that I gave you for like Washington, I mean, they're at the bottom of the poll in a lot of scoring departments, so that's something he's going to have to work on. Because that'll come back and bite you if you don't address it.
Right. So, yeah, interesting slate of games tonight. There's 11 huge ones. What's catching your eye tonight? We've got Arizona, Buffalo. Arizona picked up a game or a win on my Caps last Saturday night. They're starting a huge 14-game roadie there, Stork, because they're getting their locker room refurbished there at the Mullet Arena. They won't be. Excuse me. They won't be home until December, first week in December. That's just a monstrous task.
Yeah, that's it's really not fair when you think about it. Especially this time of the year. I mean, you don't want to get off to a slow start in the NHL, and for them to have a 14 road games all in a row is that's a tough mountain to climb.
Agreed. We got Montreal at Detroit tonight. Like we said, the Detroit Red Wings looking pretty good. Calgary's on an East Coast swing, playing another rematch with the Devils. Calgary lost in overtime last night to the Islanders. Calgary's kind of faltered a little bit to me. Markstrom's struggling in net. I think he got the loss last night, so I'm assuming Vladar gets the start tonight. Battle of
I was going to say one of the reasons why Calgary's struggling a little bit. Huberdeau's still finding his way in Calgary. He's been with Florida his whole career, and he's just finding it a little different on the West Coast, playing on a new team. But he's a hell of a hockey player, and I think he'll put it together soon.
Yeah, and that's kind of he's on Wyoming Great Apes. I just think Josh could even get more dangerous if that guy can start doing what he did last year, 100-point guy. So Wyoming looks like a deadly team. Other games, the Battle of New York, the Islanders, who came off the overtime win last night, play the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. That'll be a good one. The Canucks are playing the Senators. That probably will be a high-scoring game. I would definitely take the over in that game. So good luck in the goaltending department if you have, I'm assuming, Talbot and Demko. St. Louis, oh my God. Stork, let's talk about the Blues for a minute. This team is horrendous right now. They're taking on Philadelphia Flyers tonight.
I think it's a little disarray in the locker room, too. I mean, have you been watching Bennington this year?
Yeah.
He snapped a couple of times. So there's something definitely going on in St. Louis that's not sitting right with it. Because, I mean, if you look at their lineup, I mean, they're solid. But guys like Thomas and Kyrou, they've been really quiet.
And contract year, Ryan O'Reilly, I think he has like 1 point.
Right? I mean, you can go down the list with some of the Blues. They're just, they seem to be off. Something seems to be not right in St. Louis.
So they're off the back-to-back. They lost to the Bruins last night, so they're gonna play a hungry Flyers team under Torts. Who's playing pretty well off the start of the year. That's gonna be a tough. We'll see what St. Louis can do. I'm interested in seeing what happens there. What do we got? We got your Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm looking forward to this game. They're playing well, Stork. They're hosting the Red Hot Vegas Golden Knights. Let's have a couple minutes of Stork's Leaf talk. What'd you think? They beat Saturday night they beat the Bruins 2-1.
Well, I mean,
Sunday,
you know how down I was after the Leaf road trip out west. I mean, they just didn't play well at all. And come back home or we'll come back to the East anyway and have back-to-backs with Boston and Carolina and come away with 4 points. I'm feeling pretty good about that. That's for sure.
Yeah, John Tavares, it looks like he's playing up to his ability. He's been unbelievable. I wanted
Matthews is starting to light it up, so watch him.
Watch out.
He scores in bunches, that guy, when he gets going.
Yeah, he does. All right. I would say this would be one of the matchups of the night, but Edmonton got the loss last night off the back-to-back. Will we see what we're going to see with them tonight against Tampa Bay? That's going to be a great match. Great matchup last night between them and the Caps. I think the Edmonton Oilers looked a little jet lag, in my opinion, but I'll give credit to my Caps squad. They a really thin team on the back end and missing just a ton of stars. They came with and ended the 4-game losing streak, but Edmonton will be looking to get out of the snap after a loss down there.
Yeah, well, that was a big win by the Caps.
Yeah,
they played really well, and they they kept McDavid and Leon in check last night, and full credit for 2 points there.
It was McDavid's 500th game, and he did get a goal. Just another McDavid.
You can't hold him forever, man.
It was unbelievable. It's not even embarrassing to get beat by that guy anymore. He's on another planet. Another matchup I like is Dallas at Winnipeg tonight. Dallas is playing red hot. Winnipeg's playing pretty good. This one's in the peg. Hellebuck in the nets. Nashville's at the. Let's talk about the Seattle Kraken. They're red hot. And now they get 6 straight home games, I think, out here.
They're playing really well. I mean, you gotta tip your hat to them because they're
defensive.
They don't have any superstars on that team, but they got 21 guys playing the system that's been etched out for them, and they're doing okay. They might even challenge for a playoff spot this year.
Yeah, they got a long homestand here, and they've been playing pretty well. We'll see how that goes. And then the nightcap, Minnesota Wild. I feel like I haven't seen them playing forever. They're taking on the LA Kings out there. I think that's on ESPN Plus in the States. So that should be a good matchup. Should be a ton of change in the fantasy scores after tonight.
Yeah.
Our 3 stars of the week, Stork, was a little bit different from the NHL's. The NHL's number 1 star was Jason Robertson. I believe that guy had an 8-point week. Number 2 was Nathan McKinnon overseas in the Global Series. He had a phenomenal. I was actually surprised by that one, though. I think there was a ton of other better players. And then Erik Karlsson, this guy's got a rebirth in San Jose on the blue line. This guy had a large week last week. He got the number 3 star. For us, number 1 star went to Tage Thompson. Halloween night, he had that 6-point night. Number 2 star, we gave it to Nikita Kucherov. He had a great week there in Tampa Bay. I feel like he's had a silent year. And then the number 3 star, our league voted Alex Ovechkin. Congrats to Ovi for scoring his 780. He tied Gordie Howe last week for the most goals all time franchise with 1 franchise. And then he ended up going ahead of him, and he scored last night as well. 788 goals and counting for the grade 8. Stork, I'll give you the floor. We got a couple more minutes here. What are you looking forward to this week?
Well, a Leaf win will be nice tonight. I'll take that.
Sure.
But yeah, like I said, I love when there's a whole slate of games going on. It keeps me busy score watching and scoreboard watching. But
Yeah, I'll be flipping.
yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunately I won't be able to watch the evening games tonight because I've got an early rise tomorrow morning. So, but yeah, it should be some fun hockey today.
Right on. Yeah, it's picking up the schedule. It's going to be Veterans Day here this Friday. I want to. We got a couple of vets in our league. Hats off to everybody there. So busy November coming up. American Thanksgiving. There's going to be a ton of games here. It's a big crucial week. I'm looking forward to it, Storky. My thanks again for another great episode. We'll see you next week. Good luck again.
Buddy.
Good luck.
Take care, guys.
Nick Reedy, and let's do that hockey. It's a great day for hockey, as Badger Bob always says. Have a good one.
And Terry.
Yeah.